Yo, what is up guys? Del Boy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, Shakur Stevenson successfully defends his WBC lightweight title against mandatory challenger William Zepeda, winning by a unanimous decision. First thing I actually want to talk about, I guess, is the scorecards. One of the judges had William Zepeda winning 1 round, and I think the other 2 judges had Zepeda winning 2 rounds. I felt those scorecards were way too wide. And, you know, there was a reason I didn't do a prediction video for the fight. I was feeling Shakur would get it, but didn't really feel it would be a level playing field. And when you see scorecards like that, I kind of feel my initial thoughts were justified. We saw it as well throughout the night, you know, with Kataev and David Morrell. And even the Matthias versus Puello fight, I really felt the commentators were trying to pull the old okie doke and persuade the audience that Puello did enough. You know, the whole card, aside from like the Berlanga-Shiraz fight, it felt like the powers that be really knew who they wanted to win, kind of thing. That's like the vibe I got from this card. It was a good card, don't get me wrong, some good fights. All the fights were entertaining to varying degrees, but I feel like you could tell the results in which the boxing establishment wanted. But Zepeda Stevenson, decent fight in my opinion. Obviously you had the work rate of Zepeda, especially early on, versus the more precise punching from Shakur Stevenson, the more eye-catching shots. I mean, let's talk about early on in this fight first, I guess. First for sort of 5 rounds. And I felt the first 5 rounds were actually the most entertaining of this fight. First round, Zepeda came out with that sort of aggression as he usually does. You know, coming in behind that southpaw stance, kind of in a crouch, trying to walk down Stevenson. We realised very early on that Stevenson wasn't as fleet of foot in this fight. He was standing his ground a lot more. Round 1, Zepeda was kind of warming up, and when he got close to Zepeda, when Zepeda got close to Stevenson, he worked the body quite well. But Stevenson would come back with his own work, but mainly to the head. Some good combinations to the head, some good 1-2s, right hook, left hand, uppercut. Good combinations in round 1 by Shakur Stevenson. And obviously the cleaner, sort of faster punches, very easy to see. Zepeda's work was primarily to the body. He landed a fair few shots, but I felt Stevenson did pretty well in round 1. Round 2, Zepeda came out, upped that pressure, kind of stunned Shakur. I don't know whether he stunned Shakur or whether it was a balance thing, but he kind of staggered Shakur with a jab and really kind of mogged Shakur Stevenson in the second round, outlanding Shakur as far as I was concerned. Few shots to the head, but again, mainly body work that was getting through from Zepeda. Stevenson was willingly sitting against the ropes when he did that in this fight, particularly in the first half. I felt he was getting outworked in those moments. He was blocking a lot, but a lot of body shots were getting through, and obviously body shots do count as well. So he gave up ground in round 2, Shakur Stevenson. He was looking to like catch and counter, and he was catching and countering, and sometimes putting his shots together really well. But I preferred the pressure of Zepeda. Round 3 was similar. I actually felt round 3 was even clearer than round 2 from Zepeda. Again, more of the same. Shakur really kind of sitting his back against the ropes, trying to kind of fight in a shell, like a Philly shell, turning and weaving with the shots. Again, he was blocking most of the head shots, but Zepeda again was able to get to that body, and especially with his jab as well. That's one shot Shakur never really dealt with, was Zepeda's jab to the body. He would use that as a measuring stick, Zepeda, then he would kind of like tee off. I was getting frustrated though with Zepeda because that jab to the body was landing all night long, and there was nothing off that jab to the body. Where was like the overhand left to the head off that body jab? Maybe fire that double jab to the body, come over the top with an overhand left, or feint that jab to the body, overhand left. You know what I'm saying? There was no... The body jab was money for Zepeda, but it was scoring, but he wasn't working off it, kind of thing, you know? But the third round, I felt Zepeda outworked Stevenson again. I felt round 4, Stevenson came back and did well. He spent less time on the ropes. You know, he tried to keep Zepeda centering, and Stevenson was holding his feet at times, catching and countering, throwing that 1-2, sometimes stabbing to the body as well. You know, I felt he picked some good sort of quick shots in round 4. I gave Shakur round 4. Round 5 I would give to Zepeda, personally. Again, it was a close round. And again, it was a round like so many in this fight, particularly in the first 6-7, where Shakur would land the more obvious eye-catching shots, but I'm pretty certain that Shakur still got outworked in that round. And of course, you know, Zepeda was the guy forcing the fight. Round 6 again, another indication of how how many close rounds there were in this fight. I think CompuBox had this round as like 25 shots landed for Shakur, 24 for Zepeda. Just a really, really sort of close round, but I would give that to Shakur Stevenson, not because he landed more according to CompuBox, but I don't think Zepeda's output necessarily offset the quality that Shakur was landing. So after 6 rounds, I had this fight even, personally. I had it even. In fact, I had it even after 8. I gave Shakur round 7, I gave Zepeda round 8. I felt, however, after round 8, Zepeda really did lose steam. He lost momentum. He was still pressuring Shakur, but I don't think he was putting his shots together as well. I don't think he was trying with the same output, he wasn't fighting with the same intensity for the last 4 rounds. And Shakur, though, he maintained his kind of posture, his composure. He was still kind of fighting how he was throughout this fight, picking clean sort of singles. Sometimes he would land like a 2-3 punch combination with good speed. And as this fight went on, Stevenson was really rocking the head back of Zepeda, like proper rocking it back, making it super obvious. Now, while Zepeda was never hurt by these shots, and he was never hurt in the fight, you know, they are such clean, obvious shots, and they look good. And especially, they were especially apparent in the second half of this fight, when Zepeda was starting to lose his shape a little bit, I'd say, losing his composure. And last 4 rounds, I felt Shakur took control and, yeah, pretty much won the fight from there. Better performance by Shakur Stevenson, more entertaining, and it goes to show when he wants to, he can throw more than 10 punches around. How about that? You know, all of us who were complaining about Shakur fights in the past, I feel like we've been proved right, you know. He can do it. This is what we want to see more of, you know. But the fight itself was okay. It was okay. It was decent. It was solid. I think Zepeda started well, but he tailed off. Made some big mistakes, like I said, in regards to his jab. Not using that jab to try and land the overhand left and get creative. I'd also have liked to have seen more straight punches by Zepeda. He was super focused on the body, but there were a couple of moments where he would land a jab straight left hand. And I don't know whether I was tripping, but I feel like every time Zepeda threw that combo, which wasn't many times, but every time he threw it, it landed. So he could have done with more of that as well, but Zepeda, for me, didn't do enough. Having said that, I felt the scorecards were an abomination. I really did. We know who they wanted to win this fight prior, and, you know, the scorecards kind of went to show that, you know, I say Zepeda should have done this, he should have done that. But I don't think, unless he knocked out Shakur or dropped him multiple times, he was never getting a decision, you know. Yeah, the scorecards again put a dampener on this fight for me. But I'll let a couple of days pass and I'll watch it again, because I have seen a couple of people online say it was a draw. I've seen a couple of people say Zepeda won. I don't see that personally. I felt Shakur, particularly towards the last 4 rounds, kind of separated himself and took advantage as Zepeda was getting tired and losing his shape, I'd say. But decent fight. I'm relatively satisfied, considering it was a Shakur Stevenson fight. Zepeda, he can come again, but needs more dynamism, needs to utilise that jab more effectively, I'd say. But he can come again. As for Stevenson, I mean, I'd like to see a Tank Davis fight, I guess. If Tank Davis beats Lamont Roach, I'd like to see that fight. But anyway, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy. Peace.